Hello, listener. It's Gina, and I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about something that Chris did last night. It all started when he...
Here comes the Riveted with Chris and Gina. Here we go, Gina.
Where are we going?
We're going to record a podcast.
So it's not very far then, right?
No, we're not moving as we record.
This is going to be a nice one today.
It is because we have decided, or not decided, we have implemented a pre-talk chat in visiting with people before we record, because we have started getting requests. Well, request isn't the right word. We've had people say, "Hey, we're interested in coming on the podcast," and so we don't know them, and that's good because now we get to make new friends. We get to have them come on the podcast, right?
Right. And this is what had happened this time, and we had a great pre-talk.
Yeah.
And got to know this couple very well.
You guys are going to love this couple. They are energetic. They are passionate Airstreamers. Only been doing it a couple years, but you can tell that they just live it and breathe it, and we're excited. So we have got today Jessely and Edwin Soto, and they, I believe, originally hail from New York. And
but don't hold that against them.
No, come on. But we're excited to chat with them and have them on the podcast. So Jessely and Edwin, welcome to the Riveted with Chris and Gina.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Hi, glad you're with us.
You're quite welcome. We're excited that you kind of raised your hand and said, "Hey, I'm enjoying listening to the podcast. I'd love to participate." And we're glad you're on, and
thanks for doing that, because that lets us know that this does work and that there are stories out there that people are enjoying hearing, and then you have your own to tell. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
thanks for having us.
We are.
Now, do you get the impression that they were very chatty before we got on recording, and now that we're recording, we're having to pull things out of them?
We're just getting started.
No, is that what
happens? Is I was letting you lay the runway out. Right?
Oh, I got it.
Right?
Okay,
there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Now they're ready to take off.
No, it's good. We're excited.
We're ready.
We're excited to chat with you. We're also excited to hear your full story, because it was neat to meet you and look on your socials and just talk with you a little bit, because it's obvious that you guys are not only enjoying your travels, but you're enjoying your Airstream as well. So we're looking forward to hearing all about it.
We are loving it.
Cool.
Loving it. So Chris has told me that you guys started about 2 years ago. So how did that start? Like, what does that look like? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. So we live full time in our Airstream, and our home base is in Pittsburgh now. But it all started in southeastern PA, in a Philly suburb named Phoenixville, and we had lived in Phoenixville for 16 years. It's where we raised our, at that time, 18-year-old son, and we're living in our dream house, white picket fence, 2 kids from New York.
So suburbia, right?
Yeah, totally different from our upbringing. And we sold it all to hop into a flying cloud and see the world we never really got to see.
Yeah, we definitely had some things that made us realize that life was too short. Why wait? So that's why we just decided to sell the house and go for it
and hit the road. Yeah, we have that story too about things happen in life that you think, hey, what am I doing?
But the way you were describing, like your picket fence and your like that life, it's dramatically different than traveling in an Airstream, right?
Yeah, and to the way we were raised too. Growing up in New York City, we didn't have those experiences, so it was very exciting when we got to make this transition.
We often talk about how we see tourists in New York, kind of traveling through, and while we're trying to get to work, and they're all staring at the skyscrapers with their cameras and taking selfies and all that and whatnot. And to us, it was, we're just trying to get to work. And now we're the tourists when we go see things like, Bryce Canyon, and like, oh my gosh, it's a mountain. Wow. And we're we've become full on tourists as well when we get to see some of
we love it so much. And we're always trying to get other people to join us on adventures.
Yeah. But
of our family.
But being tourists when you're going to see epic locations like that is awesome, because you got to go see those places. I mean, you just have to. So
I want to get back to the Airstream. Can we get back to the Airstream?
Yes. For sure.
Okay. So my question is, why Airstream? Because if you're coming from a single family home like that and downsizing to an Airstream, like what made you choose that versus a big rig like a fifth wheel or a Class A or something?
Yeah, a lot of people that are going to go full-time RVing
they seem to choose larger,
something other than an Airstream. But
I mean, that was our original plan. I mean, we went to an RV dealership and we were looking at fifth wheels and all that, trying to pick one of those. But then, I remember seeing these videos about Airstreams and I was like, wow, those are really cool. And Edwin's like, we're not buying an Airstream. Like, he was so adamant, we're not buying an Airstream. And I was like, why not? Let's check it out. And then there was this one video we saw that talked about, I think it was like 5 reasons why you should buy an Airstream. And there was something there was one thing that they said that was 70% of Airstreams made are still running around. And it was like the fact that they were built, 90 years ago. The company's been around for 90 years. There was a lot of things. And the simplicity, too, of buying something that didn't seem to have such high maintenance. I mean, there's maintenance. We know that now. But it compared to some of these bigger rigs was very appealing to us, which I think also stems from our background growing up in New York City. We didn't, we lived in an apartment, a small apartment. We had landlords that would fix things.
And then when we moved into our house, we
wanted a newer home for that reason, because we were like, we don't want to know how to have to fix things if they break, So
I'm like, what's an HVAC?
Yeah, we had no idea what we were doing when we bought a house. We really were that clueless. But so I think it shouldn't be surprising that we went to something that would be something that we could handle, like an Airstream.
That's smart. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, and a lot of people don't really think about that when they look at the Airstream. They're looking at it as, oh, it may be too small or something, but they're not thinking about the maintenance issues of those big rigs that you have slides and different things. So that was very smart of you guys to think that way.
I was saying, yeah, those things really intimidated us. Like, we also talk about, before we got into an Airstream, we didn't do any RV camping ever at all.
Oh,
wow. To compare it to.
So y'all were brand new
at all.
Completely new to RV life. Completely. I don't think I stepped into an RV truthfully that I can recall until the time we were shopping for an RV.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, totally.
We're not.
Everything's YouTube.
Yeah, we're not far away from you on that. I mean, we had never owned one before we bought our Airstream, but we kind of were around RVs. Gina's parents. I
grew up in them.
Yeah, she grew up in them, but they all had motorhomes. That was the kind of RV that they had for 20, 30 years. So
what's so funny is that, and I don't know if anyone in your family knew of Airstream or anything, but I never really had heard anyone in my family speak about Airstreams. And when we made the decision to purchase one, my dad looks at me, he says, an Airstream, really? And I said, yeah. And he's like, I've always wanted one of those. And I'm like, I've never heard you talk about that. And he's like, they are just so nice. He's like, can I go with you to pick it up? And I'm like, absolutely. So we brought him with us whenever we did our walk around, and where they show you everything. And but I don't know if your family knew anything about Airstreams or not, but I just thought that was funny.
Our family did not comprehend at all.
They were completely clueless about, like, why would you sell your home to do this? That's one thing, obviously, but the other piece is, what's an RV and where will you live? Where you it was totally mind-boggling for sure.
Now, did they live in New York or in Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
a mix
of places, but mostly the East Coast. And I think for my father, he's very proud that he's immigrated to this country, so he's very proud that all his children were successful, each owned their own home, and it was a big deal for him, to see his kids succeed. So, he could not comprehend why we would sell our house to buy an RV.
Yeah, to him, the home meant success.
Yeah, the home was success. So it's like, what do you mean you're selling that house? And I was like, we're selling the house and buying an RV. So he's definitely understands more. Like, we're actually visiting him in North Carolina in a few weeks, and now he's really excited. And it's so funny because he's looking to buy a house, and he said to me today when I spoke to him, he's like, well, I really don't want an HOA, coincidentally.
Yeah, that's right.
He said, because he's like, I want to get a house that has a place that when you come, you can park your RV.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, how sweet is that?
That's very nice.
It is. Yeah.
He's come full circle.
So in our pre-talk conversation, or like, pre-talk's not the right.
Yeah.
I don't like that term, Gina.
I don't either.
Okay,
well, you started it.
Okay, well, we'll come up with something different. But anyway,
the warm up.
The warm up. I love
that's
that.
good.
Warm up.
Warm up. I like that.
In the warm up.
Yeah. Anyway, we chatted about how you acquired your Airstream. So I already know this story, but I really would like for you to kind of expand a little bit for the listener about getting your Airstream, because it's going to resonate with, I think, with a lot of listeners. So where did you get it, and from whom did you get it?
Oh my. Yeah. So when we finally decided that Airstream was going to be it, we went down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos of Airstreams. And if you just type in Airstream tour, I can't imagine one of those top 3 videos not being Patrick Botticelli from Colonial Airstream in New Jersey, because he has put out so much content and tours surrounding Airstream tours. And specifically, I got addicted in watching his videos because he is the type of content creator that went through every cabinet, he opened the microwave, he showed me the closets and every nook and cranny of the rig, where some of these other tours were just kind of like leaving it up to your imagination.
Yeah.
So it really helped, me envisioning what can fit where and so forth, and how this could be used. And it started to simplify the things that all scared me into moving into an RV. So we went and we
took a road trip. Drove to Colonial
We drove
Airstream.
out there to go just look at them.
Yep, just to look. We're just gonna look.
Right.
Don't you love that
not
phrase?
Putting down a deposit by the end of the day.
Right. I love that phrase, by the way. We're just looking.
Just gonna look.
Just gonna look.
Just perusing. So we kind of had in our minds set on like what we wanted, because we had seen the introduction of the Flying Cloud office models, where they remove the bunks in the 30-foot models. And that was very attractive to us because we both work still. And so to have some space to do that on the road would have been great. And so that's what we went in looking for. So when we got there, we went
to ask to see if we could see the 30-foot Flying Cloud office.
Oh, right.
And the person told us, oh, we just sold it, so you can't see it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, darn. I'm like, that's the one we wanted to see. So then we were walking through the shop, and Edwin comes up to me. And what do you say, Edwin?
I'm like, hey, who is that? Do you hear that? I'm like, is that Patrick Botticelli's voice? He's got the very distinct New Jersey accent, and I can hear him talking like in the cubicle or something somewhere. And so lo and behold, we go up and we meet him, and he became our sales guy.
Yeah. And he said, I could show you that Flying Cloud office. And he went and took us.
Yeah. He said, let me go get the keys. And he went, grabbed the keys,
cool.
and showed us around. And honestly, like, it was a very touching moment. I remember, I think I even have this on video somewhere, where we're sitting in that Flying Cloud.
Yeah.
And we're like, this could be us. Like, and like,
got a little emotional. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Laying down there on that bed going, this is going to be our future.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. And so
I'm crying now.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we were reminiscing because like both our grandparents died during COVID.
Yeah.
And we kind of like it was kind of like the jump start as to like what nothing else was keeping us rooted to the east.
Yeah.
That's
And it
good.
was just one of those moments that like, you know, we were doing it for them.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you're getting emotional too.
I think
But yeah, it was great.
I'm so glad this is not video right now.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not video.
No, but that's what these stories are all about. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what we've been looking for is we're looking for that raw, honest story. And so we appreciate that.
Well,
Thank you.
and okay, here's how to take that a step deeper, I think, is you guys had a goal in mind of becoming full-time RVers, and you in order to do that, you had to acquire an RV, right? So, and you had all these aspirations to get out on the road, and partly because of the struggles you went through with losing your grandparents and things like that. Gina and I had a very similar experience. We'd already had our Airstream, but both of her parents had major health struggles within 6 weeks of one another, and we looked at ourselves and said, if that's going to be us in 20, 25, 30 years, we got to get out and do it now. So you guys were experiencing a very similar emotion that we did back then too. And the cool thing is the Airstream is the vehicle that you're using to take you out there and enjoy those experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had it any other way. And what's even funnier about this is that this is actually our second Airstream. Like we wanted that
Flying Cloud
office model.
Didn't get it
because we got back ordered. We put meaning that we
put the deposit
put deposit down, and then it got back ordered, and it wasn't working with our timeline.
And we were itching to leave. We were like, we don't want to wait another year. We want to get out.
Yep.
So we switched to a 27-foot Flying Cloud office with a hatch.
Yep.
Best decision ever.
Best decision ever. Yes.
High five.
High five. Yeah. It gets us. It's like small enough. Like we now know that like had we gotten the 30-foot, that we wouldn't have gotten into some of the fun trouble that we would have like
in those national parks.
Yeah.
There you
We've gone to some interesting places where I know 2 more feet would have definitely been a no-go.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 more feet,
Well, and that's the truth, because I think we were in the Redwoods when that happened to us, because we do have the 30-foot, and we're coming down the road, and we were going to pull into this campground, and they saw us as we were coming and ran out and stopped us as we made the turn. They're like, there's nowhere for you to turn around. You can't do this.
Waving us away.
And so, we had to back out and back out the drive out into the road again to turn. But I looked at the campground there, got out and walked around, and literally there were campers in there that you couldn't get the door all the way open because they were hitting trees.
Yeah.
So we are so thankful they saw us before we got pulled up in there. But we know what you mean about the size and working around those national parks.
So
when we were in Joshua Tree once, we were at a campground where we technically didn't fit, but we were like, we're here, we're gonna make it fit. And we got in there, and every time you step off that RV, you were praying that you did not fall, because it was like a big
there was a giant
ditch.
There was a ditch and a boulder.
Like, I was like one of us is going to break an ankle before the weekend is over.
On the step and then on the boulder to get to the ground.
Wow, man.
It was rough, but you were like, no, we're not going to fit. I'm like, we're going to fit. We're not leaving this place.
Yep.
We made it fit. But
I actually
got, like, the best pictures.
We did.
I have to ask this question, and it's on my mind because as soon as you said hatch, it makes me think now, all right, so this is at least, I think, that makes the third, I believe, guest we've had that's got a hatch. Okay.
Nice.
And which is awesome. And Gina and I are super envious of the hatch. But talking about squeezing things into tight places and length and all that kind of stuff, this question just popped into my head.
Hold on, you guys. Who knows what this is going to be?
So no pressure at all. And it's if you don't want to admit it, you don't have to. But have you backed into a place where you couldn't get the hatch open?
Oh, that was your question?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere really deep.
Because you always leave room for the hatch.
I always account for the hatch.
You always leave room for the hatch.
Yeah. Okay, so our story
you got a 30-foot trailer then?
Is in the driver's seat.
I'm the backer inner.
Yep. Oh, cool.
She's the backer inner.
Yep.
And I'm outside frantically guiding in. But it's what honestly is such a amazing thing to watch, where there are times where we're backing in and you'll just watch all the husbands come out to just
Yeah.
experience Jessely just backing this
Getting
in
into some
like
really
perfectly in
That's
with
awesome.
like on her first
Yeah.
shot. But I'm always when as she's backing in, I'm always telling her, okay, you know what there's two things to consider: is the weather, is it even matter?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
As
true.
in, like, is it, do I
Sometimes we're
even
like,
want to open it
yeah,
here?
sometimes we're
Or
like, we're not going to open it. We could
Yeah,
back
that
it
makes
up more.
sense.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the first step, and then this next second step is the honestly, you only need another like maybe foot and a half.
Oh,
Because of the way it swings up. So you need maybe only about another foot and a half, like to get that hatch to swing out.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Recently, can I tell you one quick backing up
absolutely
story,
Yes.
which I
sure.
think I'm pretty proud of?
Yeah.
We were in Detroit, and when you tell people you have an RV and you want to make sure you fit, they don't always quite understand, right? So I'm telling my
Like when you're
aunt
visiting.
when you're visiting, she's like, "Oh yeah, you'll fit. No worry." I'm like, "Are you sure? Why don't you give me the address so I can look it up on a satellite?" "Oh yeah, you'll fit." So after a couple of rounds of "you'll fit" and we know we're not going to fit, we end up at her neighbor's house, and I didn't realize she lived on a it's a two-way, but it's on a dead end. And we went down that city street in Detroit, and we're like, "Oh yeah, he has a yard. We'll fit." We get there, and the guy, her neighbor, had a fence, a long
Oh.
fence, and when he opened it, it was enough to really just fit a car.
You maybe only had like if you have the airstream between the fence, maybe a foot on
on
each
each
side.
side. And there were cars parked, and Edwin's like, "Oh, we're gonna get it in there." And I'm like, "There's no way we're gonna fit into this. I'm gonna hit this gate." He's like, "We're gonna get it in." And lo and
Street
behold,
signs.
this guy got me into that in between that gate and that fence. And I couldn't believe it. And then, we get there, we park in. Of course, the guy's got padlocks locking up the gate with his padlocks. And I'm like, well, we're not going to be able to go anywhere, right? With the RV in there. But then afterwards, he's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it." He's like, you can easily get out for you to get out. But yeah, we got it in, and I was really impressed. I was like, I never thought we'd park in this RV in the city streets of Detroit behind a fence with padlocks.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I do hope you took pictures of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've
Yeah.
got a couple pictures, and I think somebody's got video too. So
I have video of pulling out.
Oh okay.
Pulling
Yeah.
out of there, because it was pretty impressive even pulling out
was
because
tough, just
we
as
told
tough.
people to move their cars and nobody moved their cars.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So
So
Yeah.
we played an interesting game.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But we
So-
did it.
So
We
if
did
you
it.
if you don't mind me asking, unless it's a secret, you don't want to share anything, but like why do you have the that arrangement where she's the backer inner and you're the spotter?
Yeah, that's an easy answer. We took RV driving classes
Yeah.
right at literally like the day we pulled
picked it
out.
up.
We picked up the RV. We drove right to a mall parking lot where we met up with our RV instructor. And
Did I mention we didn't know what we were doing?
yeah, we had no idea. So we took a his and hers, and he said he set up some cones in a nice straight behind the RV, and he said, "All right, Edwin, just back her in between these cones." And I went, "Huh?" I couldn't for the life of me understand why I pride myself on being a pretty decent,
at a driving
experienced
school when you
driver.
were
I worked at a
younger.
driving school. I'm not bad behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm really safe. I understand the but this took me to a different level. I couldn't understand it. It took me a long time to really kind of get the feel for reversing with a trailer. But of course, 5 minutes later, when Jessely gets behind the wheel,
You go,
and
girl.
she's like knocking
you.
ding, 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 ding. I go, okay, well, clearly you have the feel for this.
Yeah.
And it turns out that
Your pride was hurt that day too.
oh yeah, but
were-
but I get to make it up because I get to be bossy on the outside.
That's true.
Right? I get to tell you.
Oh,
you gotta
I
go,
like
yeah,
that.
I'm all right. You're going too far. See?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it evens out.
So,
I like
so now, so I just back it in every single time.
That's great.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
great. Do you do any driving?
I do.
Yeah.
Not as much as he does. It depends how much we're driving. It's like a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive. Edwin's got it. But if it's like
Yeah.
a 6-hour drive, then I usually take like a 2-hour shift in between. You know,
Yeah.
so I do sometimes try to drive.
There
You
you
But
go.
you
like
do
the
most of the driving.
nice open roads.
Oh yeah, give me the straightaways.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want turn left, turn right, turn left. No,
Yeah.
I want 150 miles of highway. That
So-
I'll take it with a heartbeat.
So basically, she can go backwards in the Airstream. She can't go forward in it.
Yes, that's it. That's the
That's
one.
exactly it.
Yeah.
I
Um,
like it.
Exactly.
Well, let's pivot the conversation a bit since we're talking about going down the highway. So, give us like, the Reader's Digest version, but still go into like some fun stories about your experiences. Like you hit the road, you're full-time RVers. You obviously are still working some, but
I'm curious about your perspective. You talked about tourists coming to the city and seeing the skyscrapers and taking pictures and stuff. What was your thought the first time you went out with the Airstream? It gets dark. You're out west. You open up your door. You go outside, and the billions of stars that are in the sky that you don't see when you're in a city.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's breathtaking. I mean, I literally get emotional about these things. I remember when we went to the California redwood forest and I walked and saw those trees, I literally started crying. I'm like,
Mhm.
people must think I'm crazy. They're looking at me like I'm nuts. But I'm just like, this is just so beautiful. And everyone's like, are
Yes.
you okay?
Yes.
It's just
It is
so
beautiful.
it really is emotional. And honestly, I feel like we don't know how lucky we are to have this in our
Mhm.
backyard. I think growing up in New York City, we didn't have much growing up. I mean, we had a lot of love, but we didn't realize we were missing something, honestly. Like we were excited about taking the train to Coney Island and going to the beach, and that was so exciting
Yeah.
for us.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not realizing what else was out there,
Mhm.
So I definitely think I appreciate a
Yeah,
lot
the
of it.
outdoors was going upstate.
Mhm.
Going to Westchester was considered going up.
Oh,
outdoors,
Oh, wow.
If you
Yeah.
got to go apple picking on a school trip, that was the highlight of the
Oh my
year.
gosh.
Wow.
It's like
That's country living.
Yeah.
it really was.
Well,
and
and-
even
and
now
then
we
you
just
get
came
out.
back from New York, and we were saying how like breathtaking it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
And then you get out into the wide open, land, and it's not just the how far you can see in front of you out there. It's when you look up, it's how deep you can see out into the space, and it just kind of gets you at the heart, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
We
does.
literally made a list. Like we made like a kind of like an Oscars version of like our a list
Mhm.
like our favorite places, our most surprising places. So like for example, like our favorite place to visit is Joshua Tree.
hands down.
We just keep accidentally going there,
back to the desert.
and it's just
It
it's
calls
just so
us.
beautiful and magical.
Yeah,
Jackrabbits and coyotes and
yeah. We took my mom there
Roadrunners.
recently. She flew out. She was so excited to come to Palm Springs. Oh, we're going to Palm Springs. We're going to go sit by the pool. We're going to go gamble at the casino. I'm like, yeah, Mom, that's what we're going to do. I pick her up from the airport, and I was like, she's like, we're not going to the campground. I go, no. She's like, well, where are we going? I'm like, we're going to the desert. She's like, what? I'm like, we're just going to drive to the desert.
Yeah.
So spent,
And we
like, 2 days
surprised her. And we spent
boondocking.
2-3 days boondocking out at Joshua Tree. And she was like, well, I don't hike, Jessely. And I was like, Mom, trust me, I'm not going to make you hike any mountains. And then we get to Joshua Tree, and the woman is out there taking selfies with rocks, and I'm cracking up.
Oh, I
Like,
love
she just
it.
absolutely loved it. She'd never seen anything like that because she lives in New
Yeah.
York City.
Yeah.
And for her, it was she could not stop talking about her trip to Joshua Tree.
All right. So,
It definitely, she loved Palm Springs, but
Yeah.
Joshua Tree definitely overtook it for her.
and that's now, when she came out, did she stay with you guys in the Airstream?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
See,
where
yeah.
else was she going to stay in the
well,
middle of the desert?
I just wanted to clarify. I didn't know whether maybe they just took a tour out and then like.
she said
Nope.
several days they boondocked. Were you listening to
Yeah.
that story?
Oh, they did say
And-
that.
They did say
her-
that.
And my brother-in-law was with us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And
Our
our son was with us.
Well, there
Five
you
we
go.
people.
somehow
Mm-hmm.
squeezed 5 people in an Airstream that does not sleep
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
No. Well,
that-
we
I-
do 5. 5 is the most we've ever slept in here.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's 3 too many. But
Yeah.
but
Well,
You know
one
what?
of those
That's
is our
exactly right.
granddaughter, and that's never too many.
Yeah.
No.
well,
Aw.
I will just say that that right there is just almost enough because of you have this Airstream, you're 3/4 of the way across the country. All the way across the country, if you're looking at it from New York perspective. And then you got family being able to come out and enjoy seeing that amazing landscape because you're out there with your Airstream.
Yes.
Yeah, and now we've made it an annual trip. My mom and I, for my grandma's birthday, we used to always celebrate. We used to always go visit grandma for her birthday and make a big deal, the whole family. So when the first birthday passed and my mom was having a really difficult time, I told her, I'm like, why don't we go do something together? So back then we were in PA, so we went to the casino, we went out to Lancaster, to Amish country, and we had a good time. But then the following year, we were out I literally said, where do you want to go? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, we should do something for grandma's birthday. I flew her out to Vegas.
Yeah.
And she came out to Vegas and we spent a couple days in the casino, staying at the Hard Rock, or Planet Hollywood. That's where we stayed. And, just a quick story. My grandmother used to love watching award shows and pageant shows. I don't know why. Those were her thing. She would call you up and she's, Miss Universe is on. Okay, grandma, I'll put on Miss Universe, or the Grammys are on. She'd call you. And when we were staying at the casino in Planet Hollywood, my mom was watching TV and she was watching the Spanish news and like the Good Morning America, but like, on the Spanish version. And they were in Vegas. And I was like, what are all these celebrities doing in Vegas? Mom's like, oh, I think they're having an award show. And I said to her, I was like, well, maybe we should find out if we can go to this award show. And we got tickets. And my mom and I went to the Latin Grammy Awards. And it was amazing because I felt like grandma was like, go watch the award show. So we went to go watch it live.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story.
Every year, like we're planning next year because this year she came to Joshua Tree, and next year we're like, well, what are we gonna do next year? So pick a place in the country and we'll go. And
been trying to convince her to do a cross country train trip, like mother daughter.
I want to do it
Amtrak because Jessely loves to ride trains.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
Because she hates to fly.
Well, I mean, the reason why I rode the train is because I didn't want to fly by myself. Right. But then I became addicted to cross country train riding.
An addiction, a new hobby.
Yes, well, that's my little side quest, my little side hobby.
That's really cool.
So, do you drink wine?
I do.
So and I have to figure out the name of it again, but there is a wine train out west, and you have to book it a year in advance. But that might be something that the two of y'all could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know.
I'll look it up and get back with you on that one because that might be a good thing for you and your mom.
What time of year is it that you do these trips?
With my mom, we do them in April.
Oh, April.
Yeah, April of every year.
When's your grandmother's birthday?
April 21st.
Oh,
21st.
That was my grandmother's birthday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Look at that.
How about that? Well,
wow.
It just we've experienced a little bit of what you just described there, as far as having family be able to come out and visit places that otherwise they would have never gone. Our daughter and her family did that actually just last summer with us. We were out that way, and one of our favorite places is Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and
Grand Tetons,
all that area through there.
On our bucket lists.
And we they flew into Salt Lake City over spring break, and we took them up and toured that area. We'd been numerous times, but obviously they'd never been, and they only had a short amount of time to be out there, and so we did as much as we possibly could. But it was just neat having the accommodations of the Airstream to be able to have a base shelter, but we were gone pretty much, 18 hours a day almost, 16 hours a day, but we'd come back.
Amazing.
But it was just being out in that landscape. You've got,
well, they got to experience a little thing with us too. Is of course we like to boondock. That's pretty much all we do. And they got to experience that with us. And one other thing was that we decided at spur of the moment that, we want to move on. Let's go somewhere else. And they were like, what? And we're like, yeah, let's do it. And so we just pulled away, hitched up and pulled away and went down the road. And they couldn't fathom that. They didn't understand that, and
wow.
They thought that was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
I love that. I love that.
The adventures.
Like, hey, here's a little taste of what life is like sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes you can just get on out of there.
No, that's
Yeah.
We've
true.
definitely had some get on out of there.
We
Absolutely.
have had, and I always call those the unexpected happy
the
accidents.
happy accidents,
We call them
like
the
Bob
happy
Ross.
accidents.
Yes.
Yeah, like Bob Ross, happy
Yeah.
accidents when
Mhm.
you plan to do something and then you're like, you look at the weather or something. Oh, a hurricane's coming or something. We're like, and then you have to reroute and you find something else instead, and it's just pretty amazing.
Well,
That's when you find some of your best trips, though,
yeah.
or create your
Absolutely.
best trips when they're not planned.
And that's what I was about to say was that's one of the reasons why we don't plan is because there's been times we have experienced such really amazing things because we had the flexibility
Right.
to do it versus
We were at a restaurant one night, and usually we just set up at the bar when it's just us. And so we bellied up to the bar, and we're sitting there and struck up a conversation with someone, and they're like, what are you doing here? And so we told them, the whole RV thing, and they're like, oh, well, if you've got your RV, you need to go blah, blah, blah. And we had, we were only going to stay there a couple of nights, but we said, forget this. That sounded great. The next day we got them left, and we went to do what they were suggesting and had a ball. I mean, it was,
Oh my God.
it was
That
amazing.
sounds exactly like how we ended up in the Finger Lakes and
It's true.
staying there longer
We stood there for 3
because
weeks.
somebody told us about a different place that we could go to, and it ended up being
amazing.
again an most amazing.
And they were
experience.
Airstream owners. They had just opened up an
They
RV
had just
resort
opened up
in the
RV
Finger
park
Lakes.
in off of Lake Seneca.
that's
But
cool.
I think this is a great moment to shout out the people who don't plan, because there are too many people who will get on you for you don't plan, how far you plan. Like, I think that there's definitely something to be
Live in
said
the moment.
for
Yes.
that all of those unplanned moments. for
Okay,
sure.
let's do it together. We're going to shout out to them. You ready? 1,
All
2,
right.
3. Shout out to
Shout out.
everybody.
Don't
Woo-hoo!
plan.
Don't plan.
Don't do it.
Yay!
Don't plan.
Woo-hoo!
Screw the HOA.
Did you,
Oh, was I supposed to
Even-
say
No,
that?
you weren't supposed
even
to
the
say
cheer
that.
was unplanned.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had no idea what you wanted us to cheer, Gina.
See? It was perfect. It was
Yeah.
unplanned.
We did it.
That's
So we got
okay.
it.
You just do it.
We
It doesn't
still landed
matter.
it.
We're shouting out.
On that note about planning, we made a lot of plans with a great friend of ours from the Pacific Northwest. So, shout out to RV Art West. They, we had planned this really amazing trip for
Banff and
his
Jasper.
50th birthday
Yeah.
to Banff, to Jasper.
Wow.
And then Jessely had to get surgery,
Ugh,
and we had to cancel
I know.
the
It was
entire trip,
awful.
and we didn't get to go anywhere. So there's
Oh.
a huge disappointment sometimes in planning.
So we spent 8 months
Yes.
in California. I mean, in Southern California. I mean, I can't complain. It's Southern California.
It's Southern
I know.
California,
Hard
right?
to complain.
That's
I
Yeah.
right.
know. I'm like, we spent days there recovering in wine country.
Yes.
But Banff, I mean, you got to go there.
I
Yeah.
know.
I
Yeah. It was
know.
just such a,
I was so
bucket list item
heartbroken.
for us. And we
Yeah.
were going to try to hit Glacier on the way back down too.
Yeah.
So
There's
Yeah.
always next
Things
time.
happen.
Yeah.
that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I mean,
right.
we've been traveling full time since 17, going into early 18, and
Wow.
it's we've traversed the country, three times for sure that I know of, maybe
Mhm.
4, I guess. I mean, and not saying we've hit the entire country. We've crossed the country, east to west and back and forth 3 to 4 times. And there's places that we've yet to see by a long shot. There's actually places we've gone back to numerous times versus going to new places.
That's because they're our favorite.
And it's so a lot of
they're so
a lot of
fun, aren't
that.
they?
But
That's
we-
Joshua Tree for us.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the thing that we learned, real quick was to slow down and not be in vacation mode and that just let us know that, or made us feel good about knowing that there'll be a next time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh my God, you sound just like Edwin.
yeah.
You really do. Like, you literally verbatim sound like him.
vacation, got to get out of
He goes,
vacation.
Sally, we
mode.
can't keep living like we're on vacation.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
it's,
but we have slowed down our pace too a lot.
yeah, you got
And it's
to.
been wonderful in a lot
It
of
has
ways.
been.
Yeah.
It really has
Yeah.
been. I like staying in places longer now.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I agree
sometimes
with you.
it starts to blur the sometimes when you stay in a couple of small towns in a row, they all some of them start to blur
Mhm.
together, and you kind of really forget where you're driving for a minute. And you're like, wait, where
Well,
am
that's
I
why we have the
exactly?
calendar to remind us what city we're in.
Yeah,
Yes.
We
that's
literally
right.
write it in the calendar every time.
Just like
Mhm.
rock stars when they
Yeah.
before they go on stage.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
where are we?
You are
What's
in
going on?
Currently in-
Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania.
Right now, currently in
How you
Pittsburgh,
doing,
Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Hey, so quick question to switch subjects a minute, but have you made any modifications at all to your rig, or is it still pretty stock?
Fairly. When we got it, we had the solar
switched the
package
batteries, did
installed,
the
and
solar
we did the
packaging.
lithium batteries.
Yeah.
What we have added, what we feel like we have added is a lot of external stuff that
Yeah.
isn't necessarily Airstream specific. So we have a cap on the truck, and on the truck, we put a bunch of solar panels where we, for whatever reason, heavily invested in a Jackery products.
Yeah.
So we have like 3 different model Jackeries, a
Those
little
are
one, a medium
generators.
one, and a really big one that you can plug the whole RV into.
That's been amazing. And we use
yeah.
the solar to run it so we can stay self-contained.
So when we
That's
go
cool.
boondocking, you can charge the Jackeries on solar, and of course the rig itself has solar. We also bought external panels for the rig.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're planning to put a lift kit at some point, but there hasn't been a rush to do it yet because we haven't really needed it. It's only a couple, maybe I would say we've bought it out maybe like twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not that long enough to like to have to worry as much on those. You know, again, those 2 feet make a difference.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
that
You're right.
definitely-
It does for us, for sure. Yep. So did I understand it right that you said you've got solar on the top of your truck too, not just the camper?
Not on the truck, but like external panels in the truck that we pull out.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. Yeah. We
We
had,
probably have about 1,000 watts of solar external.
yeah,
We
that's
look
cool.
like a solar farm sometimes. We crack up.
Yeah. Well,
But it
we
works.
we had a set of portable panels that we traveled with some too before we switched to lithium. So we had some solar on the roof, and we had some portable panel to add to it. And then when we switched to lithium batteries, we realized that as long as we're in places where, you know, we're not in the shade, which is what we try to do most of the time.
We try to stay away from trees.
We didn't need the portable panels, but I hear where you're coming from now.
Yeah, we have the lithium batteries.
And
too.
and we're like divas on even in the middle of nowhere. We want like to use our computers and stream our like videos.
well, we
and
travel
stuff or
with
whatever.
a 20-year-old.
Yeah, that
Internet is important.
I mean, even if he wasn't here, I'm gonna be honest, I'd do it a little bit. You know? At night, I gotta
We
watch.
learned a lesson when we went to Capitol Reef. That was our first, and we had zero internet for a whole weekend, and we had to figure out how to get along.
We all got closer together.
We did get closer together that
That's right.
weekend.
That's
We totally
good.
did.
Yeah.
Spent
Capitol
some
Reef
great
is
time
fun.
together.
Yeah,
It's a wonderful
that
place.
was the trip I think where our son went from hating visiting us in the RV to loving visiting us in
That's
the RV.
cool.
Oh, good.
He
Yep.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He walked around saying, "Okay, I can see why you guys do this."
Yeah.
That's
And-
beautiful.
And so your floor plan, 27 foot, you said it's office. So that one little section of the couch beside the TV across
Yep.
from the sink is a little desk.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
earlier in the warm up, when I turned on my camera, that's where the camera was pointing from.
Yeah, we're using the standing desk.
using that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that
Did you like how he
it's
threw that in there
little spinning desk,
in the
Yeah.
which I
warm up?
like.
in the warm up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. I'm
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Trademark. No, I'm
I
just
didn't mean to
kidding.
talk over you. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
I'm digging that
I
title.
like it.
I like
Yeah.
I wanted to say real quick because I feel like we made a list. We were prepared. We're not always
What?
prepared.
Oh, they
We
have
made
a
a list.
list.
They
I
have a
like
list.
it. She did not
We made
go
a
to
list.
Show
the
notes.
to
Oh,
get a beer
Show
today.
Very
That
nice.
we put our favorite place to visit was Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Our most surprising was Las Vegas,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
we never had gone to Vegas until we had gone with an RV because we're not gamblers. But we absolutely love Las Vegas and not for gambling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot
Ve-
of beautiful natural wonders there too.
Yes.
A lot
Red
of
Rock
beautiful
Canyon,
places to
Valley
go.
of Fire. It's just gorgeous. Lake
It
Mead.
is amazing, is it not?
Yep.
Just do
Yeah.
not, and I'm going to warn you right now, and we speak from experience. Well, we used to live in Vegas, but do not, and for anyone listening out there, do not go to Valley of Fire in July.
Oh. You will be on fire.
You
Yeah,
literally will.
We
Yeah, it wasn't even fun.
pretty much hit wheels up. I remember in early May when even though it was only a slight 111 degrees,
Yes.
we actually saw the asphalt start to like wobble, and I said,
Yeah.
okay, it's time to go.
Time to go. And we
Yeah.
went
Sure.
to Utah, and we
That's right.
hit which brings us to the most breathtaking
Yes.
Utah's national parks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Isn't
so
it
it's like-
amazing how the landscape in Utah changes so
Oh my
much just within 100
Yeah.
miles? You know,
Oh
it
my
really
gosh.
is another planet.
mhm, it
Like,
You
is.
say it looks
feels
like Mars.
like a whole nother planet.
What I
Mhm.
imagine Mars looks like is
Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah. So did you do, talking about Vegas first, did you go Utah from the south to the north? Is that the kind of the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
you traveled
Yeah.
through those parks?
Both times.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no. The first time we came from the
From the
south, and
south.
we did the 3 parks.
Right.
And then
We came from the south the second
this year
time
we
too.
came back from the south too.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
We just passed by
Oh,
all
that's
the
right,
other
because you went
3
through
parks.
Vegas. Yeah, we bypassed
Yeah.
the 3 parks, and then we did the other 2.
And then we did
Mhm.
Arches and Canyonlands.
Yeah, we
on the
did
way
that
up.
on the way here to the East Coast.
Mhm.
We
Fabulous.
wanted to finish the 5, and we
Yeah.
definitely need to go back because we didn't spend enough time there.
You
Yep.
can't. I don't think you could ever spend enough time. I
No.
mean, it's
No.
just the landscape out there is just phenomenal.
It's over the top. Yep.
Mhm.
That's
I
great.
agree.
Yeah, so like breathtaking was those, but like definitely we had some honorable mentions. The redwoods, Jessely mentioned,
Mhm.
were just absolutely gorgeous. The Oregon coast you already mentioned too, and the Finger Lakes during peeping season.
That's when
Was-
October
Yes,
is the key, man.
where
Mhm.
all the trees start to change color, and it's just like, it's just like a painting or something.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
just
we were
gorgeous.
we just stayed in Crotone-on-Hudson Park. We were going to New York City to visit family, and every time you watch on YouTube and they say New York City, they always go, "Oh, you go to Liberty Harbor," and I'm like, okay, well, Liberty Harbor was like super expensive. So I had said, let's stay in, there's an RV park in Brooklyn. And I'm like, we should stay at the RV park in Brooklyn. Well, the city shut them down. So we were like, well, where the heck are we going to stay? So I found this place, Crotone-on-Hudson State Park. I was like, okay, you got to take the Metro North to the city. That's a little far, but we'll just try to convince our family to come up and visit us.
happy
and-
accidents.
Happy accidents. It was gorgeous. We spent 2 weeks there in October.
Mm.
And I mean,
Watching the leaves fall.
it was amazing. I
Is
could
this
not
the place
rave
that you
about it.
said your family did come up and
Yeah.
loved it?
And yes,
Yep.
they all came up to visit.
They all took the Metro North. Some of them
Yep.
traveled 2 to 2.5 hours there and back just to see us. So it was a big adventure for them, taking the whole day to come up and visit us. Shout out to them. But
we did campfires for
we
them.
did campfires.
We walked and hiked
Took them on
Aw.
hikes.
along the Hudson River.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah,
My
it's
cousin's
just-
daughter already told her mom that next summer she wants her to send her on a plane to wherever we're at, so
Oh,
she can go
see?
camping with us.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And
I don't even set up a little tent for her in the back, and she was so excited, FaceTiming all her friends, showing them where she was.
That's
It was
cool.
adorable.
we gave her a little jackery so she could charge her phone.
You
Yeah.
did. We gave her the Jackery to charge her phone. It was adorable. I
And
was
she
like,
probably
oh my gosh,
was-
she's living her best life.
And she probably was like, "You mean I can charge my phone without plugging it into an outlet, or like a regular,
Yeah.
like
How old is she?
here's this little box and my phone will charge
She's,
on it."
what, she's 10?
Yeah,
I think
I
she's
think
10.
she's 10. And it was just, I say it's just like a big power bank.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So, Gina and I have known about the Finger Lakes for years, even before we became RVers,
Yes.
and we've had people tell us, "You've got to go, you've got to go," and
And we had a chance to go.
yeah, and we travel with kayaks. We love to kayak, and we have them on the truck all the time. And we've been told about how amazing the kayaking is in some of those Finger Lakes and just areas through that part of the state. And we are ashamed to say we've not been yet, and we've got to go. Because,
Well, we had a chance to go. We were up in Pennsylvania, and we thought, well, let's go now. But there was another couple that was traveling along with us, and we were just kind of traveling together for a month or so. And they had a huge Class A, and guess what? They couldn't fit anywhere that was
Yeah.
available. So
We could find a place to park,
We
but
could
they
find a
couldn't.
place easy, but they couldn't. So we had
Yep.
to give up going in order for us to stay.
But I could imagine
Right.
that the time of year up there is important, and
Mhm.
October sounds like it would be beautiful with the leaves and the change, a little bit change in the weather, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gorgeous. Yep.
It gets a little chilly, but it's still really, really pretty.
Yeah.
I mean,
awesome.
yeah, we absolutely had an amazing time up there, and we definitely need to go back. So now we have spent 2 fall seasons in the Northeast, and we're just like, we could do this all the time. It's
Yeah.
just the leaves. It's just gorgeous. And Watkins Glen State Park is just beautiful. And I mean, I also know that the National Forest does camping, but when we went to Finger Lakes first, we were very much newbies. So the thought of being in a place and boondocking in a forest was scary.
Terrifying.
It was terrifying to us because it was like first come, first serve. We're like, oh, we could never do this.
Now
we
that's the
laugh.
first place that we thought of. We're like, well, we gotta go back and go into the forest.
Stay in the forest this time.
That's good.
Yeah, Finger Lakes is absolutely stunning. Yeah.
So is there anything else on your list that's compelling?
Yes.
Yeah.
The most disappointing.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So Crater Lake, not that, everyone told us to go to Crater Lake. We got to Crater Lake. We did not see the lake.
Oh, no.
So that's when weather was not on our side.
Yes,
Oh, no.
It was really, really thick fog. Like,
I just said, please don't let us fall off the side of this cliff. That's all I kept thinking. You couldn't see anything. I was so mad. And
there were some good things, right? We get our national park sticker and our stamp, which is really, really, really important to you.
It is important.
And me, I gotta admit, the door sticker is
the door sticker
a must.
So we have to go back and maybe one day see the lake.
Yeah,
yes.
We will see the lake.
And then any amusement park, I will just say like that: do not stay in an amusement park unless you have little kids, because you will hear nothing but screaming people on the roller coaster the entire time.
Yeah. Oh wow!
And night.
That's a pro tip right there.
I've never
we did
thought
not think
about
that
it.
went through.
Yeah.
Until we hear people screaming the entire
maybe
day.
you're into that, but that is not when you're trying to relax.
It was supposed to be fun. It was not fun.
No, we're not really into people screaming all night, are we, Chris?
No.
No, okay. I just want to make sure that wasn't something, I didn't know about that you were into. Yeah.
No, not usually.
We're trying to figure out what are the campground commandments. For example, one of the first one, credit to my son, don't eat the berries.
Oh no.
The animals are not your friend. Too many people. Get way too close.
To those
you
bears.
are not discovering a new trail.
Oh yeah. I'm liking these.
Yeah.
Yes. The water is not safe.
Yeah. Well, now we do have a campground story about water.
Yeah,
Yes. And that was in Pennsylvania.
It was.
So we'll have to share that.
Our
was
state.
bad.
Oh, it was the campground from hell.
That's what we
and
call it.
the lady from hell too. It was bad.
So one final question, and then we'll start wrapping up.
Sure.
You guys, you've been to many Airstream rallies. I know you mentioned you're a member of the ACI, but have you been to many rallies or anything?
Well, when we were heading to New York, we came upon a rally.
We crashed a rally.
So we crashed
on
it.
Fratana.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. That was fun. We're driving in. They're like, "You're here for the rally?" We're like, yeah.
Yes, we are now. And the
Shout out to was it Mid-Atlantic Airstream?
No, I think it was the New York Metro.
New York Metro.
Yeah.
Either way, it was awesome.
Then we did, but we did go to international, not this year, but last year in Wyoming.
Yeah,
we did.
And
which was a real eye-opening
really
experience because
experience.
we had a really tough experience going up there. Like it was one of those where I had a really bad couple of weeks RVing where I was questioning whether we made the right choice to sell the RV.
Feeling like homesick.
Yeah, I was homesick and some people were just not very nice to me. And it was just like, I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know if I could do this. And I was just getting a little emotional. I don't know. But then we went to the rally and I felt like I really needed that week at that Airstream rally.
You really felt like you fit
I
in.
Finally, I felt like we fit in.
That's
you know what
cool.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out where you are, like, just in life, sometimes you just struggle, sometimes fitting in and not knowing whether or not, you belong somewhere. And I really felt like people welcomed us with open arms and it was so amazing.
That's where we discovered that Airstreamers were, that was our first rally. So where we discovered Airstreamers were a whole nother,
a whole other breed,
family.
man. They're so nice and welcoming, and we had such a good time.
We still keep in contact. So like we've had like informal rallies because we meet up with a bunch of them from time to time.
Yeah.
While we're on the road.
Yeah.
We've been to non-Airstream rallies too, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some through escapers.
Yeah. Working families.
Yep.
Yeah,
Same.
and that's been great
Yeah.
as well. We've met some absolutely wonderful people through that we still
Yeah.
do like little informal meetups.
I mean, I think sometimes just like, we struggle, especially like being inner city kids, not having these experiences of being in an RV and this being very foreign to us. And then being in the situations where like you don't know if you necessarily fit in. And it's nice because definitely feel like Airstreamers, you always have that in common. Like whenever we see another Airstreamer, we're always like, oh, we should go say hi.
Yeah.
And 95% of the times I would say they're welcoming. Sometimes people just, you could tell right away they just kind of want to be left alone, and that's okay.
Mhm.
You have the right to do that as well. But
Yeah,
but
that's
for the
how
most
we
part,
are.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
most part, Airstreamers are so welcoming, and it really feels good to be part of a community.
She
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
She didn't hear me.
I'm like that too, Gina.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I set up and I'm just like I almost build like an invisible
Mhm.
fence. I'm like, okay, I just want to be left alone for
Yeah.
like the next 72 hours.
Yeah.
And then Jessely is like, hey, I've just invited the neighbors over for. I'm like, oh my lordy, here we go.
I love it.
So,
Yeah, we're introverts. We
Yeah.
we just kind of hang out inside the rig. We don't really talk to people.
We never
or-
socialize or
Never.
anything.
No,
No.
not at all. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
They're exaggerating.
Well, I will say that it's a great thing that you just shared there. I mean, it's good to hear you say that going to. I mean, that's a huge rally international, and
Yeah.
the 1,000+ rigs, couple thousand people. I mean, you could feel alone in that kind of crowd because you may not know anybody and all that kind of stuff, but you came out of it feeling re-energized and knew you were in the right place with being an Airstream owner and going to that rally and just kind of feeling, so accepted and so, back to normal as a full-time Airstream owner, which is that's a great story to hear.
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
awesome.
Well,
Well, I want to talk about something for just a minute
okay.
because I heard you explain in there about how you felt going into that Airstream rally, the international, and how you'd had a couple of bad weeks or whatever. And as you were describing that, you were talking about, being inner city kids and purchasing the Airstream and not really coming from a background of RVing or anything like that. I don't know how to ask or what to say, but how can you elaborate on that just a little bit? Because I'm sure that there are lots of people out there who don't come from a camping background or, not necessarily Airstreams, but just any kind of RV or an extra recreational vehicle type thing, and have a life where they can go and travel and maybe go camp on the weekends or whatever. Their parents.
Like what shifted in their mind?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be inner city kids, or I'm not going to live in suburbia forever. And
Yeah, like, well, I'd like to understand that whole process, if you don't mind talking to me about that.
Yeah. No, we talk about it. We talk about it actually kind of often. It comes up typically in like rally type scenarios. And in fact, when we talked about that at the international a little bit because we got asked
Surprisingly.
like what got you into this if like nobody you knew was into this. And we said, well, one thing that we've noticed is that as we talk to more and more people, even more specifically Airstreamers, we noticed that like their first experiences with Airstreams are usually from a relative, usually their parents or grandparents, sometimes even like, they'll hand down an Airstream, to their next generation. Or even just the concept of like RVing was something that was like very familiar to a lot of the people that we typically come across and we meet, definitely at international. But that isn't the way that, that we really grew up. Our grandparents and parents, like during, if you think about the way that, history has kind of played out, at least for like people of color, from our background, like that isn't like a avenue that of introduction, until after the civil rights movement, where we were, encouraged to go see the country. There, and even as we talk about traveling, the country, it wasn't always necessarily safe for people of color to even do that. So definitely is something that isn't necessarily like that we got to inherit from from our parents or grandparents, like we have seen from other RVers. So it definitely gave us a different like perspective, because we kind of felt like we were kind of like first generation RVers in a way, like in the
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
this, in the sense that where somebody might say you have a first generation homeowner or a first generation a college graduate, like it kind of felt like, in a sense, like that kind of a step, like, because it was a comfort zone that, and you could see it in all of our family's eyes as they came to visit us over the past few weeks. It's just something that isn't necessarily in front of you every day.
Yeah, because even our family members who have gone camping before, it's always been Fresh Air Fund or nonprofit or church group. I mean, I got
Or
I
school
got to
trip,
go camping
maybe.
once as a kid through a church group.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I would have never experienced those kind of things before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm seeing more and more, specifically people of color, start enjoying, like, I don't say start enjoying nature, but more organizations doing things like, taking people on hikes, in the inner city, like doing these excursions. I follow some nonprofits that do this, where they, have, get a lot of donations from different like camping companies for supplies, and they will rent buses and they will take people hiking for the first time or camping for the first time. And it's just amazing to see. So, I hope
It's a
to
big,
see.
beautiful country.
It really is, and it's it's our country. We should all be able to enjoy it and admire its beauty.
Well,
So
I agree with you there, and I just want to interject one little thing here. Is you're talking about them getting kids out now and taking them places. I love the fact that the national parks implemented the fourth grader
yes,
free pass.
Mhm.
That is a phenomenal thing for them to have done, and I
I
just hope
agree.
that the parents, that's the problem though, they don't always hear about it, but I hope that enough of the kids get out there, the parents hear about it and take their kids to the national parks, because that's a way to introduce kids not only to the country that we live in, but the history of the country, and it will teach
Yep.
them a lot, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I've said that I have learned more and seen more in the last 2 years doing this than I have my entire life,
Yeah,
and that's no
That's-
exaggeration.
Kind of
Yeah.
gives you a new perspective on life, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
That's good.
Definitely makes me appreciate things a
Yeah.
lot more.
Well,
Well-
no, and I'm glad I heard you, mention that in there about the inner city. That's what caught my attention when you said that, and I thought, I want to hear that story and what your perspective is coming from, saying that, because RVing and airstreaming, it's not discriminating, it's anyone who is out there who's willing to take the plunge in purchasing an RV because it can be a big plunge for some, and anyone who can do that, and kudos to them, to purchase that RV and hit the road. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think that to expand on that a little deeper is you're not only getting out there to enjoy the country and living a life that is a different style than what you'd experienced earlier in your life, that kind of stuff. But you've also, by deciding to purchase an Airstream, have now added into your life the history of the brand.
Yes.
And so going to rallies, just being around other Airstream owners, traveling the country with your Airstream, you have now connected not only the experiences we're talking about as far as just getting out and traveling, but adding to your life the experience of being around an iconic brand like Airstream. So,
Right. Well,
I
not
think,
only that, they introduced it to their family.
yeah, for
And
sure.
which
Yeah.
introduced your
Mhm.
family to it opened their eyes and their heart to camping and what's out there in nature, and not just the big high rises. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
the,
awesome.
the
Exactly.
go.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to breathe and relax. But
Well,
thank
that's-
you so much for sharing that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
part.
Yeah,
That-
that's cool.
Sure.
yeah.
It's inspiring to hear you say, and
Yes.
makes me feel good to know that you know, we're all associated with the right RV brand and community, which is cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like we got lucky.
Yeah.
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 So
We totally did.
you guys got
Yeah.
social channels and stuff like that you want to share? Any kind of social media stuff?
Yeah. So we share our RV travels on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook under the name From the Hatch. So we are living with an RV with a hatch. So we are From the Hatch.
From the
And
hatch.
I like
Edwin
it.
has his own socials too.
Yeah, I'm a music content creator. And so you can find that under at Project Edwin Music.
Very cool.
Nice. So, what is a music content creator?
Boom, boom, boom.
I wasn't talking to you, Chris.
Oh, that's not what it is?
No.
Oh. Wiki.
Well, these days you can't just be a producer or just an artist or an independent artist. It takes a little bit. It takes a little bit more to do that. So I do a lot. I wear a lot of different hats, and music content creator just fits a lot of those hats. Like
Very cool.
I produce, I sing, I play a lot of different instruments.
Right, music.
And all right out of the Airstream. So
Nice.
professional grade music right out of the rig. I'm hoping to be the Airstream like producer or something like
Very
that.
cool.
Yeah, that's
They
nice.
just started a new intro club called Streaming. Was it Streaming Airstreamers?
I think it's called Streaming Airstreamers or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So that's I would just join that intro club.
You just joined that intro club. So
Very
that's
cool.
exciting.
We need to chat offline about that. We need to
Okay, that won't be the warm up then. What will that be? The cool down?
that'd be the cool down.
Will be the cool
That'd
down.
be the cool down
Cool
chat.
down.
Well,
Oh my goodness.
from the hatch on all the socials. That's really a cool name. I mean, you guys have a hatch. Ours is the Riveted Fox because of all the rivets on an Airstream. So we both
I
kind
love
of.
your name, by the way. I think
Yes.
it's pretty clever.
Oh, very cool. Thank you.
Thank you. I came up with that.
Yeah, Gina came up with it. We
Nice.
and
We did it together.
yeah, and the podcast we were, we secured the URL, therivetedpodcast.com, so we have that, and we were thinking of calling it the Riveted Podcast, but then and in a way we do refer to it that way some, but we felt like the Riveted with Chris and Gina was the title that we wanted to run with, so
That's just because you like saying the riveted with Chris and Gina.
yeah, I guess.
After hours.
But
Boom. Where's my music? Boom, chicka, boom.
yeah, but so we're having fun with it, and we are we're at an hour and 18 minutes. See,
I
I
love
told
it.
you
Oh my
that
gosh, I'm so sorry.
time flies when
Why?
you're having fun.
No, don't ever apologize.
No, you guys are full of energy and passionate about the way you're living and enjoying your Airstream, which is exactly what we want on this podcast, and
Yes.
we hope that everybody listening has enjoyed it.
I have one final question because I know that
I was starting the wrap up.
I
process,
know, and
Gina.
I love to interrupt.
Full on and deep
I
wrap up.
love it.
I'm a big Columbo fan, so Gina, that played off very well. Just one more question.
Thank you. Yeah,
One more
I
thing.
like it.
Okay.
We're just old souls. We
Yes.
love Columbo. It's
But
just
now I
classic.
forgot my question.
Oh, good gracious.
Oh no.
Lord have mercy.
I had one final question. Oh no, I forgot the question.
Any final comments or anything before we depart?
I just want to say life's too short. Do the thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just do the thing.
Agreed.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Very cool. Well,
Well said.
thank you guys so much for being
Tomorrow's
on.
not promised.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Tomorrow's not promised.
You can interrupt him anytime you want to.
Yeah.
I do all the time.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast with us.
Thank you
You're a
guys
lot of
so much
fun.
for having us. This was so much fun.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see you guys in person.
Yeah, we'll see you down
Yes,
the road.
let's make it
in
happen.
person.
Yes.
Make
for
that
sure.
happen. We'll do the thing.
All right. Well, thank you guys, Jessely and Edwin. We enjoyed it very much, and we'll see you down the road. Okay.
All right.
See you then.
All
Thanks.
See ya.
Okay.
Gina, they were cool, right?
They are very cool.
See,
I love it. I love their story.
All
I just
types-
could keep talking and keep talking.
all types of Airstreamers,
Mhm.
Airstream owners are on this podcast.
Yes.
In the
All ages.
10 to 12 episodes we've had already, the
Mhm.
cross section of people is amazing, and
And they had a flying cloud.
they had a flying cloud and super fun conversation. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
look forward to seeing them in person.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Well, this is so far the longest episode we've recorded,
woohoo!
so we need to hurry up and get done.
No, all right, listener. Thanks for being on today, and we'll see you down the road.
See you down the road.